Hey, people of God. You know what pisses me off the most is when they talk about the average black person or the average person, right? But they don't go through the average fights that the average person goes through. To be totally honest with you, the statistics are BS. It's big stuff that the average person does not have a clue about because they're not involved in the statistics that are formed against them. See, half of the people that talk about you don't have $1,000, and now we're dealing with a generation that's coming about that is forming a warfare weapon against those type of statistics. We're faced against things that we have never been faced against before in our whole life. When I say we're dealing with educational systems that say, hey, this is the road to freedom. But on that road to freedom, you're dealing with rape situations. You're dealing with all kinds of different things that are taking place. We haven't yet woken our daughters up to the fact that you can't have sex, and our sons the same way. Don't believe this, young men, when they say, oh, well, you can have sex with as many women as you want as long as you put on a condom. Sir, don't let them trick you. That's a lie. That's for you to fall into the statistics of being a young male with a whole bunch of kids because they're going to docile you out. The next thing we're dealing with a society that does not want you to be conservative. So, like they always talked about Republicans and Democrats. Let me be real with you. Half of the Republicans, half of the Democrats. A lot of them are the same. You got Democrats that are conservative, you got Republicans that are conservative. But we're dealing with a generation that does not want you to conserve yourself and preserve yourself. So now the tactics are in every home surveillance. And then now you have your children being raised by a system that forms against it. Whether it's black, white, Puerto Rican, Spanish, Arabic, I don't care where that child is or what culture it is cultivated against it. And they're being raised in that system because the thing about it, they're trying to overthrow the system. They're trying to pull a coup. A coup. That's what we're dealing with. An all-out actual a coup of the system. So now we're dealing with store prices going up because basically in the store itself is dealing with an coup because it has associates that's stealing from it. It has so many different things that's going on with it. Now it feels like, okay, well, we got to compensate for the lost merchandise. So now they're charging you 2 and 3 times more than what you're supposed to pay because it's dealing with inflation. Now you're going in as the average American who's not part of the problem, but part of the solution. And now they're saying that they're going to bankrupt you because you're not part of the problem. And you're dealing with that daily. Then on top of it, you start to work a job. And now some of these jobs carry the mentality of slave masters. So they don't want you with multiple jobs. So they do things to try to keep you from having multiple streams of employment. So they say, oh, well, we can't hire you unless you have an open availability. I don't have an open availability. These are the hours that I'm available. I know you can use someone in between these hours, but they don't want you unless you have a what? Open availability. So whenever we want to call you, we call you, you come in. So you're dealing with that as well. Then, not to add, I just now said this, I'm dealing with somebody stocking my phones. I'm dealing with lost opportunities and stuff like that. I'm dealing with identity theft on top of that. I can't tell you my driver's license number been changed. I told people this in a video. I was once B650 at the first beginning of my driver's license. Now it's changed to B215. That's an identity switch or an identity issue because one of the B215 I already had before. That was a while back. But I'm starting to notice the trend and transition of identification cards that are given to me. And nobody's speaking on this type of stuff. So when we talk about the average American and the fact that they don't have $1,000 or $1 to their name, it's a reason behind that. This is the reason why I'm sitting up here. I'm listening to this comedian, and he was like, man, I was rolling out on the beach, and I had my car, and I rolled up on a white guy. And the white guy was like homeless or something like that. And he looked at me as if I was nothing. It is a motive behind that. It's a mindset behind that, because what you're not understanding, it is a battle going on that you are ignorant to, that is fought in the shadows of you not being able to see it. You're not able to see the actual battle because you are considered among the having. Now, when you don't have, that's when you actually begin to see the battle and begin to actually say, okay, now I understand. Now I have to fight the battle that has been placed in front of me. And then you got other people say, oh, we fighting it, we fighting it, we fighting it. And then you start to realize they're not part of the solution, they're part of the problem. They're part of the problem. I sit back here because I grew up in a poverty community where it was pro-black because the majority of the population was black. And they would be like, we need our own schools. And I never understood that. Now, as I elevated to the level that I'm at, I'm not color like them where I say, oh, we need our own black schools. We need schools for our children all together as a colorful culture. We need schools for our children all together to educate them, to defeat the statistics that are now placed on them that says that they will be in servitude to a society that will never respect them. And that's the sad part about it for all cultures. But nobody speaks on this type of stuff. And then we're going into where it's boastful. When I tell you, I remember there was a time in my life where I did not understand the bowler hat on Meet the Robinsons. I did not understand that there is a group trying to mind control us. I did not understand being dumbfounded. I did not understand that I was not reaching certain goals because there were certain things that were fighting against me and dumbfounding me, trying to keep me at a certain level. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand Adam and Eve because I was told that Adam and Eve was disobedient because they ate from the tree of knowledge. But it wasn't until I came to the epiphany that basically you don't want me to have knowledge because you want to keep me dumbfounded and bound. So, of course, I'm going to be disobedient and seek out for knowledge because I'm a knowledge seeker. It belongs to me. I have the right to eat from the tree of knowledge. I have the right to have that embedded in my DNA. And if that's me being disobedient, then oh well, I guess because I was a little bit brought up democratic, then let me be liberal with it. Let me live a little bit disobedient. Because you got to realize what this is saying, because there are things in this society right now proclaiming itself as God. And this thing has been around since before time began, biblically around, enslaving mankind, which is God's creation. But it's still saying that it's God over you. And that's connected to world orders that you haven't even had no knowledge of. Operation Depopulation, all this different stuff that you have no knowledge of. I don't know nothing about none of this stuff. I'm new to it. I'm still trying to read. But guess what? To ensure that you stay dumbfounded, they keep you occupied and working. Yeah, this is your little max season. Because as long as you're dumbfounded, you working, and you can't get to a library, you can't read on it, you can't get on this internet and research stuff and social networks and stuff like that, you will never understand what's really taking place and what's really happening, because you will be too consumed with the Willie Lynch story to actually free yourself from the stupidity. Because right now you have these Willie Lynches telling you, oh, we're pro-black, but you haven't seen any other culture. You don't know that it's other cultures out there suffering. You think you the only person going through poverty when you see white people in the line, same line as you, getting the same food stamps as you, and yet it's still you like, oh, they people elevate. No, their people are not elevating. They're enslaved just as much as you are enslaved. You see Hispanics, they're enslaved just as much as you are enslaved. But it's up to us to create a liberal freedom for ourselves. And sometimes the government can't do it because guess what? They're dealing with an coup. They're dealing with people trying to take over the whole entire structure of a government. Can you imagine that? That is a heck of an architectural structure to say, I can break it down and make it nothing. So that takes manpower. So you're up against more than one person. That takes people. That takes knowledgeable people at that. And yet and still you're thinking because you're a person of God that you're not even supposed to be enlightened or educate yourself. When truth be told, I can remember in the 90s, the only ones that was educating themselves was people that were of the faith. Because others was taught not to. And here we are dealing with the stigmatas that have been put into place that says, okay, because this one came from this family, this one's supposed to have, and because that one came from that family, that one's not supposed to have. And you haven't actually started to say, okay, well, I'm going to have to break some statistics. And the statistics that say that I'm going to be in poverty, I have to break that. So how am I going to break it? Guess what? They want to teach you that you don't need to go to work. So guess what? It's a warfare on your job. It's a warfare to stay employed. And guess what? They're not weeding and seeding the problems. You got more weeds on that job that's trying to choke the life out of you than anywhere else. We take our kids to school. You got more weeds at that school that's trying to choke the life out of your children. We sit up there, no matter where we go, we in church. Them weeds trying to choke the life out of us. And all we're just trying to do is survive and cope with the day-to-day living and the day-to-day necessities of life. So, how do we start? I'm going to be real with you. I'm starting with me. But guess what? I realized, I'm going to tell you something. I had a guy once come to me. My dad came to me. He's like, you can buy cow, you can buy chicken, you can sell all this stuff, but you cannot buy none of that stuff for free. Ain't none of it free. Where free at? Ain't none of it free. Everything costs around me. Ain't none of it free. So when they sat up there and they seen me go to work, first thing they say, oh, you going to work. You trying to be a slave, nigga, or whatever the case may be. A lot of people say this. Not my dad. He really didn't say nothing. But he realized that's the only way you have. You get what I'm saying? This is the only way you're going to have what you need. Like I told him, I say, yeah, y'all talk about what all we can do. But guess what? You can't do none of that stuff without money. And I'm not finna go out here and I'm not finna prostitute myself. I'm not finna rape. I'm not finna do none of that. Even though I gotta talk about this stuff because some of this stuff ain't being divulged to y'all properly and correctly. That some of us is going on the job and we feel like our bodies are being raped and torn apart. And we ain't prostitutes. So they're using rape as a war weapon to stop our people from progressing. They're using dumbfounding us as a war weapon to stop our people from progressing. They're using a multitude of different tactics to stop our people from progressing. They even ready to fight on the job to stop our people from progressing. And the moment our people say, hey, I ain't got no problem putting my hands on you, don't try me. Everybody mad. Now, if I got to put my hands on you to protect myself, I'm going to do what I got to do. If I do time for it, it's because the system is broken. Because there ain't no way in the world you going to tell me it's okay for a person to be aggressive with another person on a job and they're reporting, but you want them gone. So for me, personally, I tell a person quick, I ain't got no problems putting my hands on you. If you take that as a threat, then take it for what it is, because I'm going to promise you that. That's a promise. That's not a threat. You put your hands on me, I'm putting my hands back on you, because the disrespect is there. And even when you try, like, I'm going to be real with you. I have dealt with situations on jobs where they're trying to run the people off the jobs. But you say, black people don't want to work. None of these people want to work out here. Got all these people out here, none of them want to work. They want somebody to give them something for free. And the moment you run into people that's not asking you for nothing, you're attacking them. And people don't talk about that. The fact that you gotta fight sometimes on these jobs. I sat up there and I seen it at one of my old jobs that I worked in. And this is like actually law enforcement corrections type stuff. And I'm seeing them fight on the job. And I could not quite understand, why are they fighting? And to be totally honest with you, certain people don't know how to stand down and back the hell off. You be like, hey man, I don't got no problems with you. Leave me alone. I don't got nothing to say to you. Stop being disrespectful to me. Look, y'all doing y'all, I'm doing me. And guess what? They don't care. They're going to still proceed aggressive with you. They still going to try to fight with you. They still going to try to start a war with you. They still going to try to go into battle with you. And you just like, hey, I'm finna report this to these people and see what these people do about y'all, because y'all ain't going to put your hands on me. Because look, you put your hands on me, I'm putting my hands back on you. And sometimes you let certain stuff slide because you thinking maybe, hey, it may be a coincidence. Maybe, accidents happen. You can't be like one of them type of people walk into these people's job. Soon as something happen, you just like, oh, I know that one don't like me, I'm ready to fight. No. Have some common sense with it. Because accidents gonna happen, whether you want them to happen or not. But it's not until these people are flamboyant telling you it wasn't no accident that you got to wake up on them and be like, okay, y'all letting this slide. Y'all keep letting it slide. Because that's what we dealing with daily. We dealing with them CPS. CPS is a part of this mess, have been overthrown. They're allegedly supposed to be part of the government, but CPS have been overthrown. We already know this. Now, how do we dethrone these people? Because the government got to do something about it. Now you got them stealing directly from the government. Now you got a government shutdown. How are you stealing directly from the government? You trying to bankrupt America. You got workers that's supposed to get paid. They ain't getting paid. It's some people that don't work and they ain't coming home with their paychecks. I'm going to be real with you. For me, you might get 1-2 extra days. After that, you can either have my money or I'm done. Because guess what? The landlord, he ain't got no excuses for me. He'll put me on the street like anybody else, even though he cool with me. Rent man, light man, water man. Hey, look, we try to help you as much as we can, but hey, it is what it is. Cable man, internet man, same thing. I'm going to try to help you as much as I can. But at the end of the day, the bill got to get paid. And that's what people are up against. And then you got society that sits up here with a minimum wage of $14 an hour right here in Florida. I'm telling you where I'm from, Florida. I'm in Florida. Minimum wage, $14 an hour. Actually supposed to be $15.75. But their minimum wage is $14. Real minimum wage say $15.75. But their minimum wage is $14. So We're still dealing with them trying to play catch up or pretend like they don't know what the real minimum wage is. Minimum wage been 15.75 since 2025, according to the letter that was sent to me in the mailbox. But you still pretending like it's 14, 13, 8, 11, 10. We don't know what to call it every day. And this is what we're dealing with. And then to say survival mode says that a minimum for you to just be poor. I'm going to tell you, for you to just be poor, they have to pay you a minimum of $5 more than that or $8 more than that minimum wage just for you to be poor. I'm going to be real with you. In our community, that's just so you can be poor. That's not so you can be rich. That's just so you can be poor. And be like, you're not even a high-ranking poor. You just a poor survival. And then this is what kills me. We're living in a society that wants you to have kids on top of this oppression. Who is bringing life into society? I don't even like a dude or a woman that much, or man, female, male, female, whatever you is. I don't even like y'all that much to even talk about a relationship. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm keen on being alone. If you see me with somebody, trust me, they hit me with that Adam and Eve boulder hat. I'm dumbfounded. They done took me out my mind. This is real talk because, hell, they do it. This is real talk. They done took me out my mind and they done forced me to be with somebody because I don't want you. I'm adamant on that. I don't want you. When we talk about the kids, I had 5 kids out of wedlock. 5. The 6th child, I'm sitting up here in a state where I couldn't even respond. All I just felt was a child being removed from me. That's how I know it's kids that they done removed from me without my permission. Nobody knows how I feel about none of this stuff. So to talk about bringing relationships up, I see people getting married every day. I don't know how many times I see them and I'm happy, baby, I'm happy for you if you're happy. But I can't tell you that we're in a warfare and it's flamboyantly said that they raping women off in their home. So you back there, you performing your womanly duty to your husband, but I don't know how many other men you performing your wifely duties to. And that's blood raw. And it's unfair to you. It's unfair to your husband. That's the whole purpose of you getting married, so that your bed will never be defiled. But I can't tell you, hoism is real and they defiling your bed. So now you're falling into statistics, even though you're married and you sitting up there, you living a godly life. Y'all falling into statistics that y'all shouldn't even be falling into. But it's some real talk for you because I don't know how to give it to you other than raw. And this is what I see in these shadows. Now, you don't see them because you're blind to it, because maybe it's because you make a lot of money. Maybe it's because they don't want you to know. Maybe it's because they're happy with defiling you and everybody else in your family. I don't know. I can only tell you after 9+ years, actually, because next year will be my 10th year. I just celebrated my anniversary on April 1st of not willingly being with anybody and having sex with anybody, but going through rape situations. I can tell you that for a fact. But you think that you're going to take my celibacy for granted. But after 9 years of not having sex willingly and going through rape situations, there's so much stuff that I can tell you. I popped up with STDs and I'm sitting there and they laughing in front of my face, doctors and nurses, like, it's cool. And I'm like, I haven't been sexually active with anybody willingly. I haven't had sex. And this is when God began to open up the door and start to reveal to me, sweetheart, you never really chose to have sex to begin with. These people been doing this bowler hat mess with y'all for some years and centuries. This is the reason why y'all fall into all those statistics as people. I ain't saying black people alone. I'm talking about as people in general. Now, I don't know who worked harder than the Chinaman. Chinese, Japanese people, they work hard. I have never actually seen a lazy Chinese, Japanese, Russian, or anything. But in this season, in this season, I have seen some of these very same people on the streets asking for a handout in poverty. Never seen it before, but it's happening. And I know they hard workers. Guess what? Because I'm a hard worker, guess some of the stuff that I had to deal with. I had to deal with people actually laugh and say, well, you almost had it if you worked a little bit more harder. And I'm saying to myself, if I worked a little bit more hard, I'm about to kill myself. Because I would have overworked myself. But this is what people are faced with day to day as far as survival and odds against your enemies. And they sit there and watch and plot on every plan that you make. Watch, plot, and plan. And then what they want you to know, if you join them, all these problems can go away. I'll keep my problems. I keep my mop and my broom. Like Lady Singing the Blues. I felt bad in Lady Singing the Blues because when she dropped that broom and decided to be a prostitute instead of keeping her broom, I felt bad. I almost shed a tear. Because I always thought in Lady Sings the Blue that you will keep your mop and your broom and you will go sing and explore your talent as a singer. Even if it take you mopping and sweeping the club, you still gonna try to explore your talent as a singer and continue to sweep and mop instead of becoming a prostitute. But we live in a hoism society that glamorizes prostitution. And guess what? That is their agenda for all cultures. And to have women as prostitutes. But the part that behooves me, the part that behooves me the most, is the men that are in support of this. Because what they don't know is that they'll use them like they're a woman. So continue to support the game. Continue to think that a pimp is not a whore. And support the game and the agenda of the destruction of your own kind and your own people. Because I'm sick and tired of it. When we talk about statistics, fact that you don't have anything saved, I can honestly tell you, it seems like they sit there in this matrix system, and I'm going to tell you how the real setup really is. You sitting up there in somebody's lodge, their lodging area, and you are living your life in a lodging area full of people watching you like you in a zoo, like you a monkey or an animal or something. And they sitting there, they watching to see what you do, your response, your intellect, your intelligence, what you're doing. And they do this all day and all night and find schemes and ways to sit up there and play you like as if you're on the Hunger Games. And this is what people are faced with. So when you sit up there and you say to yourself, I done all that I could do. I did everything to make it work, but still I'm at a loss. Don't stress it. Don't worry about it. Because, sweetheart, you won on a God knows how many. And I'm for certain you want the battle. Because if it take that many to stop you, you could never even do a one-on-one battle to begin with. If it take them trying to make you dumbfounded to stop you, they could never go toe-to-toe to begin with. So know that you are, as mankind, the elite, whether male or female. And every time you hear the word male, or every time you hear the word man, know that that does not just refer to men or males. that refers to you as a female, because a lot of those Samson stories, think about Samson, talking about Delilah. How many of these dudes laying up under you right now? We got women that are married to Delilah right now. We got women that are married to Delilah, and it's came in the male form. He knows how to be seductive. He knows how to sit up here and play these God knows what games that they allegedly say women play. I guess you was brought up with a group of men that stood for something, and a group of women that stood for something. You were brought up with male and females that stood for something, that you don't play Delilah games. So you're not a part of that culture. And because you're not a part of the Delilah culture, Samson, Samson, you can be taken advantage of by these same people. And some of them proclaiming to be Samson, but we know they Delilah. And we going to call them Delilah how it is. And everybody can get mad or whatever. But that's what it is. Now, I'm trying to save y'all out here. So I'm going to give you a couple of strategies. If you got to work 2 jobs to take care of your business, work your 2 jobs. First, these kids is complaining about, Mom, you ain't never there. You don't care about me. Daddy, you ain't never there. You don't care about me. Let me tell you something. Take this from a woman who lived this thing. When I stopped working in corrections and I had no money coming in, CPS picked my kids up and everything. Made it look like I was unfit to take care of anything. So when I sit up there and I look at it and I say, sometimes the only way your parents can show you love is by providing for you, I'm dead serious on that. I'm standing on business on that. Because they doing the best they can to sit up here and take care of you amongst all this foolishness that's going on. So you can get out there and you can act like you ain't got your mind together and add into these statistics that they got set up for our kids and see where you end up at. Because right now you're doing the best you can. You're trying to go to school. You're trying to work. You're trying to take care of the kids. You working. You're trying to take care of the kids. You got a million things to do. If you kids really feel like y'all parents don't love y'all, obviously you ain't doing enough. You start getting on the same level as your parents, trying to sit up there and take your time and invest it wisely, you will see what they're going through. Start sitting up there. Start getting academically ready for your next level and see where your parents know at and what they're going through. Start studying for your SATs and ACTs, staying after school for doing that. Start sitting up there getting into after school programs like sports and stuff like that and getting into sports. See how many people try to attack you on that football field, basketball court, and on that baseball field. Because you sitting up there, you showing yourself to be what you're supposed to be. See how hard it is. You in class, you the quiet one, but they keep picking on you in class as a teacher. Because you're putting forth elevation. And you ain't a part of their crew. See what the hell we go through. So when I say it's time, I'm honestly serious about it's time to actually build schools for children that ain't part of the crew. Because public schools ain't cutting it right now. And that's real. And I'm so sick and tired of them saying, oh, we're part of statistics. When to be totally honest with you, our daughters are raped off at a young age because you send up there, you bowler heading them. Forcing them to have sex with these little nasty boys that you pretty much done prostitute out to women that have STDs. And if you ain't prostituting them out, you got them raping women with STDs so that they can pass the STDs to these young girls. And let's call it what it really is. So when you sit up there and you in high school and you actually in those high schools and you being blanked out, forced to have sex and all kinds of stuff like that, I'm telling you the truth. You just being raped off. Young girls, stay to yourself. Young boys, stay to yourself. Don't have sex. That way, When the STD show up and you go to the hospital and you go through what I'm going through, where you go to the hospital and you say, I'm a virgin, I ain't had sex. And they can't sit up there and tell you how you came up with the STD, and you like, somebody had to rape me. And they got to do that rape kit and it come back inconclusive or whatever the heck they want to say. They always lying about something. Whatever they want to say, however you want to call it, they must have scrapped up, had a condom on. But how you get an STD if they had a condom on? Me and you both know that ain't how it really work. But this is the type of stuff our people are faced with. And you will never understand that you rape until you stop having sex with your husband. I'm going to call it what it really is. Till you stop having sex with your husband, your boyfriends, your partners. And don't live in the house because, oh, he goes crazy all of a sudden. But you're going to see the masquerade. You and your husband consented that y'all wouldn't have sex. But some of these husbands, I got to tell the truth, y'all done walked in on y'all girlfriends in the bed with another man. And the only reason why she in the bed with another man because she thought it was you. But she went through the bowler house too. Let's call it like what it is. And these stories they ain't going to bring to you. I'm going to bring them to you. I'm going to tell you how it is because I'm sick and tired of it going on in our hoods, in our communities and stuff like that, where our communities ain't safe. They ain't protected or whatever. But this what's going to really make it sad. The ones who doing it, they the main ones still doing it, but they want to do it for people that they say that can pay them. So they still prostitutes and whores, but they want to use your body for free. But they willing to do all kinds of acts for a nigga that'll pay for it. So know what you're dealing with. So when we talk about these statistics in communities, and don't look at me and the skin color and be like, oh, this is just happening in Black communities. No, it's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in that white community, that hillbilly country community, the bushweek community. All that mess is happening everywhere. We got to find the problem. We got to uproot it, and we got to incarcerate them and get this mess off the street. But know what you're dealing with because they believe in that bowler hat and take you out your mind and stealing everything that you worked for, everything that you own, everything that you have. You got people right now refuse to leave you because the level you on. And the level I'm on, people refuse to leave me because they say if we ever leave her alone, she'll come up on us. Right now, I'm being stopped from having a second job. I need 2 jobs. Not 1, 2. But at the same time, I'm looking for a certain pay with the second one to make sure it do what it's supposed to do. But guess what? They don't want to pay that kind of money. So know what you're dealing with. And to be totally honest, that's the kind of money needed. But that's what they own. And they try to stop you. When I told them I can't work for $15 an hour and I quit my job for $15 an hour, I went through a 2-month delay. I worked for that company for 3 months. I went through a 2-month delay before I could get hired again. In the time where I'm supposed to refile my corporations, where I'm supposed to refile my entities, I'm going through depression, financial stress, and everything. I can't file nothing, and plus I got to pay for a tax person to file my taxes for my entity. So now this year I'll be filing late as all outdoors, but it will get done. And then I'm behind in rent. So know what you're dealing with. They talk about them statistics, but they keep trying to make us one. Keep fighting against the statistics. Keep doing what you got to do, because at the end of the day, I don't know if y'all know this, but biblically, this is what it is. When this mess is gone, you left with what you did, not with what they did. That's just how real it is. They get to walk away scot-free, and you fighting the consequences that is unfair to you. God bless.